Happy New Year and welcome to an update of the podcast. So in this year, I want to do something a little bit different. Every month, there will be a theme for the kind of content that will be produced regarding to the podcast. So it gives you an idea of what to expect. And also, if your project is related to the theme and you want to participate, feel free to reach out. So I wanted to separate them into different themes so that the content can be created in a more educational form. And so I can also split the videos up into 2 or 3 different weeks instead of having 1.5 hours per week, because that's a bit too long and I don't want to be too much of a lecture style like you're in university, because that's not what we want. So I'll tell you what the general themes are for the different months, and if you have any opinions, if you want to propose a different theme, just comment below and let me know. So the first and second month, that will be on options. I think options is really interesting, and options can be used as insurance, can be used as a hedge, can be used as a bet or speculation. I think it's huge. Options is also quite difficult. That's why I'm going to split it over a course of 2 months. So for the first 2 months, January and February, we'll focus a lot on options, understanding how they work, understanding the CeFi versus DeFi, understanding the various DeFi mechanisms. Because options, unlike AMMs or DEXs, you don't really have a general theme or a general mechanism. It's really variable. It really depends on how you want to design it. So it's very wide, it's very open, and I need 2 months to talk about it. The third month, which is March, we're going to talk about stablecoins, because stablecoins are very interesting. One of my favorite things about stablecoins are algorithmic matching or algorithmic rebalancing of stablecoins. We see more coming up. We have empty set dollar. We talked about Amperforth before already, and then there are a lot of new ones coming up. So it's very interesting, and I want to talk a little bit more about it, especially the economics and mechanisms behind. In April, we'll talk about derivatives. So I know options is a form of derivatives, but I want to broaden it up a lot more to talk about what the various derivatives are, the various types of derivatives, and how these mechanisms work. In May, we'll go back to AMMs again, because there's a huge development in AMMs so far, and by May, it'll be about 1 year since the AMM hype has started. So hopefully just some updates of what's going on. And one of the fun things is to, the whole point of everything before, stablecoin, options, derivatives, margin trading and everything. What I want to do is to combine them together to talk about how do we apply them in AMMs. So that will be very interesting. So we'll talk about them in May. In June, we're going to talk a little bit more about governance and voting. There's a lot of chatter and there's a lot of research already out there, but I think now we're taking governance a lot more seriously. So I expect the innovation to be a bit much further down the line by beginning summertime. In July, we're going to talk about NFTs. We talked about NFTs a few times before as well, and I want to continue the conversations around NFT, especially because I am starting an experiment on NFT, and I want to give you some updates on that. In August, I want to do a little bit more of engineering, so hopefully collaborating with token engineering, and we're going to look at understanding how do we translate all these different economics into something more tangible, into something that we can code, into something from an engineering perspective, because that is a feedback that I've gotten a few times from different kind of people, that understanding economics is one thing, understanding engineering is one thing, combining them together, that's a whole new different ballgame. So that's something I want to focus on. In September, that'll be really fun, because I want to talk about CBDC and monetary policy. I think by then CBDC will be a bit more mature. We have proper conversations and not just, hypey kind of conversations or regulatory kind of conversations, but actual things that can be done. And I want to talk a lot more during that month of monetary policy and what kind of interesting policies that we have seen in research world, we have seen that's applicable in the real world, and how can we embed them into tokens? They can be CBDC, they can be whatever tokens, but a kind of monetary policy embedded into a currency that can be used anytime, everywhere. And this hopefully goes in line with regulations, because I think last week or a few days ago, the OCC approved or mentioned that digital currencies can be used as currencies that can be traded. So that will be a very interesting innovation. In October, we'll go back and talk about layer 1 protocols, because as much as we're talking about dApps, as much as we're talking about applications, something that's popping up is blockchain specific or application specific blockchains or other layer ones that's coming up. So that's very interesting, and I want to have a conversation around that. In November, I'm still unsure. I'm thinking either insurance, or we talk about hacks, we talk about borrowing, lending. Still unsure, so still open for any conversations. And in December, I want to go back to economics. I want to talk about economics. I want to talk about moral economics, moral limits, what are the different economics considerations, and really, so not so much the financial economics, but the economics concepts and principles that goes about designing all these systems. So that's the plan for this year. 12 months, 11 themes, and if you have any topics that you're interested for me to talk about, or if there's a theme that you're interested in, because November is still open, just drop it in the comments below, and I'll be looking forward to that. Till then, see you in the next episode.